Hi, I'm naturopathic Dr. Samia McCulley, and today I'm going to talk about what the 5 most important things are this year to prevent you from getting sick. I'm actually going to talk about just one thing today, and over the next 5 days I'm going to tell you about the rest of them. So the first thing, number 1, is to make sure that you have enough vitamin D in your blood. So the way to know that is to get tested, and then the way to solve it is either to get enough sun, which we can't actually do at this time of year because in California we live in, at least in Northern California, the angle of incidence of the sun is not adequate for us to get enough vitamin or to make enough vitamin D in our skin, and so we need to supplement. And surprisingly, most people I test actually need to supplement in the summer too, because we really don't spend much time outside compared to what we naturally would if we weren't in office buildings and in school and things like that that we have concocted ourselves. So why is vitamin D so helpful for preventing sickness? Well, if you can imagine a party, and there are a whole bunch of drunk people, and one person has caused a problem, but everyone's drunk and nobody really knows who the problem was. So someone calls the police. The police come in and they start handcuffing everybody because nobody knows who caused the problem. And so this is what happens when we have low vitamin D. We just have a big problem, and maybe a brawl breaks out because people are getting accused of things they didn't do. And if we take our vitamin D, that same party turns into a whole bunch of sober people and one drunk person who causes a problem. The cops come and they know exactly who to get because the people who are sober can tell them. And it's obvious because there's only one person acting like a goofball. So the goofball is a virus or a bacteria, and the immune system are the police, and the police or the immune system know exactly who to attack. They know who to tag, they know who to take away and take out. So that's what having an adequate amount of vitamin D is. Now, adequate is maybe a little subjective. So if you go into your medical doctor's office and you get a test done, just as an example, there's a hospital here, a local hospital, and I have talked about this in another post, but I just want to make a point because I think it's really important to know this. This hospital, their normal lab range was 13 to 48. The lab range at another huge lab around here is 30 to 100. So imagine the difference between 30 to 100 and 13 to 48. So the reason I found this out was because I had a patient whose vitamin D level was at 52. And they were told by their medical doctor to stop taking vitamin D because it was too high. Yet had they been tested at another lab, the vitamin D was on the lower side of normal. So the lab, and there are lots of different labs. Many of them have different ranges, and it really doesn't matter what the range is. It matters what the actual number is, because the range is based on the population that's being tested. And if the testing population is very sick, as in I'm sure was the case at this hospital, they have incredibly low numbers. So 95% of this patient population fell within 13 to 48. Doesn't mean it's healthy, it just means that's what it fell in. So optimal vitamin D for me, and this is what I have my patients strive to be, is between 75 and 85. When you have an optimal level of vitamin D, your inflammation is much lower, your immune system is much more targeted at getting the viruses and the bacteria that you come across. And so that is number one, to arm yourself with not getting sick this year. I will see you again tomorrow.